Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to our Wednesday morning stream. We are going to continue working on the Great Prince of the Forest, essentially Bambi's dad. If you missed the first video in this process, that should be up on my YouTube channel now, and the second part will be up on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel sometime in the next day or so. So if you want to catch the entire thing from beginning to end. And then for this Dragon Boy up here, all that, the entire process, starting from a sphere, which is what we're doing here as well, that should be up on my YouTube channel all now as well. But yep, we're going to be continuing to work on our dear boy here. In the last stream, some of the things that we were taking a look at, well, and honestly, just about everything, but one of the last things that we were looking at was starting to create our hooves, or hooves, however you say that word, hooves, down here. And I just poly modeled these up, set some creases, and that's still low poly. I just have a dynamic subdiv on there. And then I started to combine and start getting this to shape up a little bit more. It needs a lot more work down here, but we will be probably focusing a little bit more on our face right now. I wanted to start getting in the eyeball and just start figuring out how all this is going to work up in the face, just because this area's been giving me some trouble up through here, this area, and getting the eye in there is going to help me be able to figure out the rest of that. So that is what we are going to work on here first. And then, as always, feel free to pop in, ask any questions, or just hang out, and I'll answer whatever I can. I'm going to start off by going into T-pose, transpose master, and increase the scale of our eyeball. And I think I'm going to try to give him some kind of eye cavity so that we can fit that eye in there a little bit more appropriately. Turn on symmetry, get in here, start making some selections, and mask that off. Turn on local sim so that we can scale up appropriately without them flying off the mesh. What's going on here? Okay. So I cannot actually use local sim because I have an antler over here and it's messing up my pivot point for this character. So I'm just going to use standard X symmetry. It's going to make the meshes fly out really far here, but at least, yes, perfect. At least these will be scaling up around the central axis correctly. I just have to slide them back and forth a little bit. Alright, let's see, let's get maybe a little bit of rotation in here. And maybe a little bit too large. I'm thinking that I'm going to push these in a little bit more. I'm going to leave them at that size. They might feel a little bit too big, but I think after we start pushing those in and giving us an eye cavity, some of that will fit a little bit better. So let's get out of transpose master. And continue to shape this up. So focusing in on this eye cavity, the next thing I want to do is start trying to get some of this, a little bit of an eye cavity in here. From what I'm seeing, and I don't know if this is true in all my other reference images as well, but looking at the character's eye, it's pretty rounded on the top lid and then fairly flat on the bottom. I think this is maybe one of the better examples, even though the eye is closed. Pretty rounded up top and then fairly flat on the bottom. And here, this is the only image that I have where he just has no eyelid, or maybe even like a slight indication of one. Not incredibly helpful, but some of these other ones, eye still feels very flat on the bottom. We'll try to get some of that in there next, I think. Let me move this out of the way, and alright. So, to do the eye cavity, there are many ways to go about this. I am just going to start by starting to push in around this form using my clay tubes brush. And then probably just build up a little bit around some of this eye as well. Let's turn off our eyelid here that we made during our last stream. And I would like to start getting some more rounded form through here. Start building that up. And I am just going to go ahead and start shaping some of this up at least. And I'm thinking we're going to have to push our eye in even more, which is fine. Don't want that thing bugging out too much. And just start to shape this up. Now when I'm doing human characters, typically what I do is something pretty similar to this, but I will do a top and bottom lid, and I might do something similar here. We'll see how this goes for now. For now I'm just going to do the top lid, and eventually I'll merge that down. But we'll leave it for now. See what we can do without it. All right. Let's continue to build up this form. I should organize some of these. I'll do that maybe in a little bit. So trying to get a little bit more of that flat, and then I'm noticing that as I'm doing that, we're starting to get this little divot back through here. So we're probably gonna build up a lot of this form, get that to flow a lot nicer, so that our surface is nice and clean through here. And this will take a while to build up, and as I continue to change this shape around the eye socket, of course it's going to affect everything else around here. So this will be a little bit of a back and forth. We'll continue here, continuing to build up some of this. I'm going to turn my eyelid back on in a minute. Let's see. Leave that a little messy right now. And just start repositioning our lid geometry. Do a little bit of a rotate here. And I kind of want to, I need to change the shape here and thickness and everything else. I'm just going to use my move brush for a little bit and try to get that into position here. Let's see. I'm going to use some masking to help adjust this shape a little bit more. And sometimes it's easier to adjust a plane like this without thickness and then add thickness after. I'm just keeping it there for now. And maybe we can redo it after we get that into place. We're getting there though. Feeling a lot better. For this bottom plane for eyelids, you typically want that pointing towards the center of your eyeball. It helps that read really well for the bottom and top lid. So in this case, we only have this top lid. I said I might do a bottom lid or some kind of geometry down there that we can combine with the mesh to make this feel a little bit more symmetrical instead of just kind of going into the face. Maybe we can get a little bit of a additional form down here and start getting that extra lid. I'm not really seeing too much of that in the concept though, so I don't want to sculpt any additional form that's not there. And I'll see this quite often with people that are a little bit new, I would say, to not just stylized characters, but just sculpting in general. If you're working off of a concept, be very clear with your intentions of, if you're trying to be as accurate as you possibly can to this 2D concept, then do that. A lot of the time I'll see people add in things that aren't in the concept, but because like maybe in a real buck or stag or deer. Somebody mentioned last night, well, the antlers should be in front of the ears. I'm like, yes, I do see that in a lot of some real not concepts, but real images of deer that I've been looking at. But in a lot of the concepts of this, they're in line with the ears or even behind the ears, kind of like this guy here. So I want to stay as accurate as I can to the 2D. But I still want to maybe try to find some examples of where that's maybe not the case in this image. I know it's really tiny and hard to see, but a little bit more forward on the head, so that's good. But in some of these, you know, the final decision's really up to you. But that's more of a large example. I guess the example here that I was talking about was this underlid. If you'd start to sculpt in some of that form down here, it's just not really necessary. Even though you might do that with a human character or something else that you're sculpting. If it's not in the concept, don't add it. Don't add all that extra stuff. In my most recent mentorship program with someone, they had a similar issue where they were sculpting some folds in clothing, and they were just sculpting a lot of additional folds. They were essentially doing extra work that they didn't need to do, and they were sculpting a lot of additional folds in their pants and the shirt that the character was wearing. I was like, hey, let's take this back a step. Let's really focus in on the concept, and some of the reasons why this isn't feeling or looking like that is because you've done a lot of this extra stuff that just really isn't necessary. But yes, I do see that quite often. And what's going on, Engine? I did see your message. How you doing, man? How goes your hump day? And welcome everybody else that's joining us. Welcome to the stream. We are continuing to work on Bambi Daddy Bambi, the Great Prince of the Forest. And I am currently working on the form around the eye here. Trying to get this to blend a little bit better between the face and this lid. I'm going to turn off my antler because it's kind of getting in the way. Like I said, I need to organize some of this stuff. So let's do a group here. 1, 2, 3. And now I should be able to have that selected. So there we go. Should be able to turn some of this stuff off faster, easier. All right. Let's change this angle some here. Start cleaning that up using a big old move brush. And I'm probably going to bevel that outside edge, or once we add some subdivs, start softening that. Yeah, I'll probably opt to do that instead. If you guys were around yesterday on my stream here, my pen stopped working. Or actually it was working, it was just working incorrectly. I had to cut the stream early. My pen, all of a sudden, was so weird. It was reading as if it was clicked down on the surface. No matter like what I did with it, it was incredibly annoying. And it was just unusable. So I was looking up some stuff online for how I could possibly fix it, because I really didn't want to buy a new pen, because they're like, for this pen, I think it's like over $100 for a new one. I looked it up. It was like 80 euros, which US is, I don't know, 120 or something. I don't remember. I don't know what the conversion rate is right now. But just for this pen, you know, Wacom products are incredibly expensive. I remember I had to get a new charging cable at one point for an old Cintiq I had, and that cable was like, just for this proprietary stupid cable, it was like $150, $200, something ridiculous for a cable. That's what you get for having a proprietary cable, I guess, though. When one breaks or someone needs one. Sucks. But yes, I did obviously fix my pen. It's working now. The way I fixed it, it's pretty funny. I had to. Well, one person that was on the Wacom support thread there said, take the pen nib out, set the pen on the side, and let it sit for 24 hours, and that will recalibrate the sensor. I was like, I don't have time to do that, but I will if that's what's gonna get it to work again. And then I saw somebody else's reply that said, yeah, the sensor's messed up, but the way you can get it to recalibrate itself is take the pen nib out and then drop it on the ground from like 3 feet up, or like bang it on a hard surface, and that will reset it. So I tried that a couple times and it ended up working actually. So banging your technology, hitting your technology actually does work sometimes, it turns out. But it's working now, so I'm happy. I don't have to buy a new one right now. Hopefully it doesn't act up again in the future. And if it does, hopefully it'll fix itself the same way as before. I was kind of considering buying an extra pen just in case this one broke, because if if it did break, I'd be kind of screwed on multiple levels. But these pens, the Wacom store doesn't even have these in stock. You have to buy them on Amazon or from some other third-party seller, which is kind of ridiculous if you ask me. But they're always out of stock on everything. Really popular, I guess, or other people having problems with their pens. They come out with a new pen like every year, it seems like. And I have to buy this pen specifically. It's the Pro Pen 1. The Pro Pen 2, to my knowledge, does not work with this tablet. According to their compatibility chart, it does not, at least. And I don't want to take the risk on that. Alright. So that's starting to shape up a little bit nicer through there. What I am going to do is probably start to subduct that surface in so it starts to pull in a little bit more around the eye. And let's see here, how do I want to do that? I'm going to start with a mask lasso. I know this is going to go through to the other side and be a little awkward there. That's okay. We'll clean that up. Get a little bit of a better selection here. I don't know about that bottom lid. I don't know if that's necessary. Alright. So I am going to move my light and move my surface in along this angle just a little bit. Kind of hard to see what's going on from certain angles depending on your lighting situation. 80 euros is 90 bucks? Dang, what happened to the euro? Percussive maintenance, yeah, just smack your pen around. You're scrubbing, you have 2? Yeah, guys, just smack your technology around. That'll fix it. It's the secret. Or at least it is for your pen. So if you guys ever have that issue, that is how you fix it. I was like, I think we're 2 hours into the stream yesterday, and it just randomly started acting up. No good. That's probably the first time I've had that level of technical difficulties in a while. I don't know if you guys have this problem. I don't have it anymore, but I used to have my Wacom tablet settings always reset. I think it would do it whenever ZBrush crashed. I can't remember exactly because it's been a while. But I had to go into my Wacom desktop property dialog thing or whatever. I think it's called the Desktop Center or something. I don't know. And have to reset my settings all the time, and it was incredibly annoying. I don't have that problem anymore. I don't know if just some driver update they did ended up fixing it, but holy crap, it was so annoying. It was a thing that had to happen like at least once a day, sometimes more. It was very frustrating. Queen says, reminds me I had to buy a new cable for your Intuos draw, and it was sold out of Wacom's site, and you had to go to eBay. Yeah, that's and like if any product is a year old, they're like, no, we don't carry that anymore. Yeah, you're gonna have to go on eBay or Amazon, and it's kind of like Nintendo products. I always say this about Nintendo products. You can invest in Nintendo products as if they're gold. Just buy a Nintendo product, never open it, put it in a closet somewhere, and in 10 years sell it for like 10 times the amount. The Nintendo GameCube controllers, brand new, they go for $80 for a standard black one, and like $100 plus. I think it's maybe $120 for like a silver one or some other colors. But Nintendo recently re-released their official GameCube controllers because the new Smash Bros. Game is coming out, and they were only $30. So people stocked up. They sold out in less than 24 hours, but as soon as they sold out, they were back up from third-party sellers for like $50. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a profit on all these. I guess all the scalpers for that kind of stuff. That sounds like a lot of work, though. I feel like not really worth the unless you're buying like 100 of these controllers. I feel like the profit margins are not going to be kind of worth the effort there. Maybe they are, though. I've never scalped controllers for anything. What's going on, PT? Works with your computer too. Just smack it around. Do I already have a name for the reindeer? His name, well, I don't know if he has like a name, but he is the Great Prince of the Forest. He's Bambi's dad. So I didn't give him like a name. If you guys want to come up with a name, I'm all for it though. We've been doing this on a few of our other characters. We never named our Dragon Boy over here. Let's name them both. Shout out some name suggestions. We had a witch a while ago whose name ended up being Gravy, I think. He goes Gravy Nova. Really stupid first name, very mystical last name. You bought a UG tablet coming soon. That's pretty cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let me know how it works for you. I believe UG. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but they only do graphics tablets, right? They don't do just pen and tablets like an Intuos. I'm not positive on that. At least I've never seen a UG pen and tablet. Just the monitor graphics tablet. I know a lot of those tablets are also kind of hit and miss. Or hit or miss, I should say, not hit and miss. But it just kind of depends. Like, it seemed like a year ago, a lot of people were having a lot more problems with them than they are now. So it sounds like maybe they've gotten a lot better. I already have a tablet though that I love, so there's no real reason for me to switch. Alright, so still a little messy through a lot of there. We're getting some pretty awkward shadows in a lot of this area around the around that top lid geometry that I slotted in there. But let's see here. Let's take a look at these antlos. I wanted to inflate a little bit of this, or at least fix where some of these connection points are. Matthew is raiding with a party of 4. Well, thank you, Matthew. Welcome to the stream. I'm thinking I want to merge some of these together to start getting this kind of combine, like these secondary connection points here. I think that'll make more sense, but let me inflate this. Let's see, deformation, inflate. Yes, yes. Okay. And let me work on these a little bit to make that fit through there a little bit nicer. Are these subdivided? Why did I subdivide these? I cannot remember. I'll just leave those for now, sure, whatever. Yeah. I think maybe I should de-inflate this. Deflate. I always say de-inflate because there's no deflate slider, it's just inflate, and you pull it in the negative. De-inflate sounds weird though. I am going to... Let's try merging these two together real quick, because I want to see how these end up working after I do a remesh there. So I don't want that point in there to be... Normally it's really hard to get those types of shapes in ZBrush where you're trying to get that really hard or sharp point in something like that. You have to do essentially what I just did there by merging them together. Let's try actually cleaning this up though. And let's see, ZRemesh. I'll just aim for like 1K. It's probably too high, but I just want to see what it looks like. Let's see, picked up a UG because it's cheap. Wacom is very expensive. Yes, Wacom is some pretty expensive tablets. Price versus performance. Yeah, I totally understand. I think it's good that Wacom is starting to get some competition. They need it because if they don't, they're just going to continue. I mean, they might continue to just wildly price their products, but still, at least getting some competition in there. If it starts to really cut into their sales, that would be great because, no, maybe not great for them, but it'd be great for us because then they start to lower their prices. Alright, let's see. I think I'm gonna leave that how it is for now. It's a little dense for my liking, but let's see, maybe we can just get rid of a couple of these. Coming to a pretty sharp point, but that's alright. We will take it. Take what we can get. I'd like this to be a little bit more smooth in there. Maybe I can smooth that out a little. Whoa, come back. Alright, so that's a really bad point there. I can't delete that edge. That's alright. That's alright. Okay. So, can I delete? No, I cannot delete that. Maybe I can just like smooth this out a little bit. Still a little sharp up there. Let's stick with this shape though. See how we're getting a little bit of an extra like hit or crease in there. I would like to get rid of that, I think. And just simplify some of this curve. And typically the way I do that is just by deleting unnecessary edge loops that aren't adding anything to the, well, they are adding things to the form, but they're adding unnecessarily to the form. And what I mean by that is in the case of this, instead of getting a nice curve through here like we're starting to get more so now, because of all that extra topology in there, you can start to get a really warbly surface, whereas when we have less, it has less interpolation, or less to smooth out between there, less to mess up. Same down here, I think I have some really low subdiv, yeah. So like with this shape, I deleted a lot of edge loops that were starting to cause some additional like bubbling out on the surface to make it very wavy. And we got rid of a lot of that down here as well. So as we subdivide up, you know, there's definitely some places where that has become a little bit worse as I've sculpted on this and pinched the geometry. As you can see, it's really tight through here. The more you pinch, the more that's going to happen. It's kind of unavoidable with a pinch brush, but we will be remeshing a lot of that, cleaning up later. Alright, I wanted to mirror my antler after we do a little bit more up here to make sure that that is blending correctly. I think some of these points are just a little bit too sharp, aren't they? That's not the end of the world. Let's just merge all these together. Except for, no, that is good now. Just make sure these don't have any subdivs, because that would be annoying. Alright. And then I don't want to do a mirror and weld since they're touching in the middle. Let's see here. Do a move up, and I'd actually like to change this angle a tad down through here. Let's see. Geo, what's going on? What was the process for creating the horns? Yes, we used a curved tube snap brush, which you can find by default just by pressing B, then C, and there's a number of curve brushes that you can play with. Draw out your curve in whatever shape you want. Open up your curve menu, which I have docked over here. Curve modifier size, and then so turn on size and then adjust your curve to make it taper in a specific direction. And you can adjust this curve however you want to get a specific shape. That's the basic initial step, and then from there it was just kind of shaping it up with our move brush, getting it to a little bit of a better place, remeshing some stuff, deleting some edge loops, that kind of thing. That's the that is the gist. Good old curved tubes. I use the curved tube brush all the time. It's a good brush. My favorite curve brush, next to my cube tube brush. Let's move. I'm gonna really try getting this to turn more towards the head. And I'm gonna use subtool mask. Well, actually, maybe I don't need to now. Okay. I feel like a lot of that can be thickened up, and I want to do just a universal inflate really quick. A few units. It's really not that much, is it? Meh. Meh. Let's inflate this guy here. Specifically towards the end. Here, I'll do this. Why isn't my symmetry working? There we go. A little bit too sharp on the end points there. Same with this one. Just a wee bit too sharp. Just a wee bit. And then we're gonna have to create some of this like connective part for the head where that's gonna blend in. I'm gonna wait to do that because I'm probably gonna shape up these horns a little bit better. So from our front view, we're starting to get this additional curve right through there. I've exaggerated that with my mask just to show you. So I am going to take these edges and make sure that we're getting a really clean curve through here. It's a little bit easier to see some of that stuff with perspective off. Let's try shifting all of this over here. Or maybe even just exaggerating that. Yeah, I'm not really liking this curve too much right now. We'll continue to clean that up. Let's move on though. Take a look at our ears, since we've kind of left those for a while. Another thing I want to do is merge in a little bit of this neck here to the back of the head to start shaping that up a little bit more. So let's do that too. We'll do both of those. Looks really smooth, yeah, thank you. They're just dynamically subdivided right now. So once I get to the point where we do want to finalize these and have that be represented with actual geometry, we'll start adding some subdivs, and that'll be a lot better. But I am just going to keep the dynamic on for now. We'll add those a bit later. So the neck and ears, let's see. I'm going to duplicate a part of my neck and just do a little bit up through here. Make sure that's enough. That should be good. And then we'll merge that in with our head up top. And I'll do this as like a proxy on occasion to start blending between two different areas that I have currently separated. Can be useful for that kind of thing. Right now, I'm just gonna start filling in this seam line up here as well, clean this up. Still need to figure out this surface a little bit more, as well as our ears. I kind of like this face a little bit more than this one. I'm actually, let me see here. Let me try importing that really fast into Spotlight. Kind of want it edit that. I'm wondering if I can do this really quick in here with paint. Okay. So in Spotlight, Spotlight treats pure black as transparent. So you can actually paint on your images and you can adjust them in a number of ways. I am just using this very, very quickly to get rid of some of this excess part of that image so that it's not taking up quite as much of our screen. Then I'll turn that off and scale him a little bit. I have the other one down here peeking out a little bit. You can, grab them and slide them off screen if you want. I'll just do that for now. Sure, it doesn't really matter. But let's see here. Now we can start shaping this up a little bit closer to what we're seeing in this reference image. I think my main problem with that other reference was that the face felt very long, and some of the shape around here in that concept felt a little less blocky than what I'm seeing, and it kind of made it feel a little bit more feminine and a little bit more horse-like. So we're going to be working on, I think, trying to get a little bit closer to this dude here. I kind of like this one more. But we'll be, let's see. I'm probably going to just shift these ears back a little bit. I'll be merging those down. Let me remesh this head real quick. And he doesn't have much of an eyelid to speak for, which we mentioned earlier. He's got a little bit of an extra brow shape going on here, though. But I think I'm going to keep the eyelid in at least for a little bit. We'll maybe get rid of it later. I don't know. Let's project this back up. And can start to adjust this. And the way that I'm going to adjust or start adjusting this, preferably I'm going to go into Transpose Master again so that I can adjust a few of these shapes at once in the face. But before I do that, let me turn off all my body. So we just have our wall-mounted deer here. And then we'll go into Transpose Master. He actually has a lot more simple shapes going on in this one as well. Let's shorten our snout, our snoz. Let's make it a little bit more wide. Or maybe not wide, but deep, tall. Let's go with tall. And I'll be merging some of this geometry in the mouth together later. The reason I split it was so that I could create the topology that we have there now, so that I could open up the mouth. I don't have polygroups in here, but let's see. Oh, there we go. So I have that split in there for an open cavity. Alright, so pulling down around there and then up through here. Probably blend that even a little bit more. Start to get that jawline to disappear. It's got a little bit more of a kind of a hard plane break point going on there. I don't know if we want to put that in too severely, because I'm not really seeing it in many of the other concepts. Other reference images. And then let's see here. For our eyes, we would like to increase those quite a bit. I should be able to use local symmetry now, I believe. Yes. I couldn't use it before because we only had one antler on our character and it was messing up our symmetry plane. And we'll just move this around a little bit. Let's see here with the eye, actual eye. Try to move that back into place a little, and I'm gonna slide these out for a moment. So I don't want to go directly towards this reference that I'm looking at. I'm trying to go a little bit in between. Whoa. Come back. He's got something weird going on with his mouth down here. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Let's see. So I definitely do want that eyelid in there. Some of the shape around here. This feels really nice. It's not a great angle though. If I can get that to blend a little bit more towards the back, I think that'll feel better. So I'm seeing some good stuff in there. I don't know what movie that's from. What movie has Belle from Beauty and the Beast plus Bambi? Wyvern Jack, how are you doing? It's looking pretty nice, thank you. Well, it will be looking a lot better once we get a little bit further. So we're gonna be blending a lot of that. Let me hop. Well, I was gonna say jump out of T-pose, but this shape, not what I want. Doing better now. Been using your brushes and it helps on the workflow. Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. Alright, so we want to blend that towards the back. Start to just plane this out more. I'm seeing the same thing in a lot of the other images as well, so I don't feel too terrible about destroying a lot of that. Got some floaters over there. That's no good. It's okay. They will go away. And some exploding geometry. Let me do an auto groups and delete. Delete all those floaters. Goodbye, floaters. I barely knew ye. Alright. So plane that out a little bit more towards the back of the head. That's starting to feel better already. Even after just a few quick strokes. Kind of be squaring that out a bit more, I think, once we get to that ridge. This ridge line here for the neck. Whoops. And I will work on blending that more as we go. Let's see here. The bottom of the eye there is a lot more rounded than any of the other references, so I'm going to go for more of a flat lower lid. But for now I just want to make sure that this is big enough to fit our eye. And let's see through here. feel like maybe I've squared off some of that a little bit much. Feeling like we're getting some awkward build up down here now. Definitely a little bit too far out. I was curious about a thing in relation to ZBrush and Marmoset. Can you carry over the matte cap from ZBrush into Marmoset? I don't believe so. To my knowledge, there's not an easy way to do it, but somebody else in chat might have some kind of workaround for how you can take the image of your matte cap. Essentially what a matte cap is, if we look at a few of these, maybe grab a little bit more of an extreme one here. All the lighting information is baked into this, so I cannot adjust the light on a matte cap. No matter where I put this light, you can see that the highlights are always in the same place, which is why I recommend sculpting with non-matte caps. All these materials on the bottom, which are called your standard materials, it allows you to adjust the light for each material. It's kind of baked in, but you can get a little bit more of a, if you're trying to make like a really specific material, it might be easier to do it with a matte cap. I don't know. I'm fine with using these. There might be a workaround where you can export that matte cap image and use that in Marmoset somehow, but I personally do not know a workaround for that. But like I said, somebody else might know. Somebody else in chat, shout it out if you got any secrets to share. I am Wild Pants. What's up? How are your pants? Hopefully wild. Thank you for the follow. I am Wild Pants. Can get rid of a lot of these. Well, I'll keep that start group, but let's see. Continue pushing and pulling some of this garbage around. I should have done this in transpose. I just didn't want to jump back into transpose because I keep jumping over there. Jumping up and back. Let's grab our other image here. Make sure. Actually, real quick. Let me do a. Where is it? A little plane defining over here. And here's the thing, I'm pulling references from a lot of different versions of this character, so I'm getting some fairly significant discrepancies, and I'm trying to find the stuff that I like in each one, and that's often a problem. It's gonna make it a lot more difficult on me. If I'm just sticking to one, it's makes a little bit more sense, which is why I had this other image here as my main one. I'll be going back to that in just a moment. Let's just grab it here. Tile selected, yes please. Go away. Alright. Going to transpose again. I would like to maybe try Just a little adjustment here. Might be the angle of the mouth that's messing with me, but let's see. Looking at this guy here, I feel like that could come down a bit more. See how much more narrow this is here as well? I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of images of this guy. Looks very effeminate there as well. I'm gonna put this back on my other monitor so I don't have to keep popping it up. What was the tool that just cycled through all the subtools? Yeah, that was Subtool Master. Up in your Z plugin, or I'm sorry, Transpose Master. You can transpose your mesh, and essentially that takes all of your subtools and puts them into one mesh like I have right now. It allows me to make adjustments, and then I can T-pose back, and that will make all those changes to those individual subtools. Pretty nice. Use it all the time. Very popular tool. I don't know a professional that does not use it. Go away. Alright, try widening some of this area here. I still don't like the parallel plane that I'm getting. I had a lot more volume over here before. Let me see something real quick. Just a quick rough. Let's see. I think in this image, not that one, this one, maybe we can find a little bit of a better angle here. Some of these look really derpy. But that's okay. They're kind of funny. I don't know if these are official art or not, but it does not matter to me. And still use them. They were in the first top results of Google Images. They gotta be official, right? There's no way. No way that it's fan art. The one is actually the same exact pose and image as this. It's just not rendered quite as much. I'm going to just continue working on this low res one here. And I think pulling out that edge more seems like a pretty good idea. So, let's do that. Getting a little strong there, that's okay. We'll adjust it. And again, I'm doing this on all of these low res subtools, so it's not gonna look it's not gonna look like this once we go back. It'll start to smooth out all these polys. It'll be a lot nicer. A little bit like this, what we're looking at right now. This isn't exactly accurate though, unfortunately. This is smoothing based on that lowest subdiv for these shapes, which is not what I have. I actually have subdivs on these. So it'll be a little different once we jump back, but that's okay. Just need to keep making some of these big changes here. And I'm seeing a lot more dip in here in the silhouette. I'm seeing a lot more pull in around there. I'll probably use some pinch around there. Let's see. And then in terms of the, whoops, in terms of this shape here, let's just make that a bit larger. And head back here. So we're going T-pose. So again, that's transpose master. It's in your Z plugin menu. And now all those changes have cascaded back through these subtools. So we'll continue to modify those and keep moving forward. And the reason I wanted to go back here with my subdivs, kind of wanted to pinch through this area a little bit. Start to get this surface to change its direction, which is working out. Even though it's a little rough and, you know, the geometry is really pinched through there, that's okay. That is not a tough thing to fix. I think these volumes are starting to read a lot better. Still needs some more tweaking though. The face is definitely going to be the thing that we spend the most amount of time on, which is to be expected. It's the most important part of your character. And within the face, typically your eyes are going to be the most important part of your face. So we spend a lot of time around here in general. Really, this is still really rough. It's okay though, all in good time. Sculpting is a slow and tedious process. Could probably continue. Let's see. I'm gonna turn off perspective for a moment. Just take a look at this edge through here. Just looking at my really extreme views, top and bottom, getting a feel for what this shape looks like from my other angles. It's always really important to look at those super extreme angles. And then again, I have a lot of these really tight shapes through here, these tight pinches, just to help me figure out where these plane changes need to occur. Let's see. And I want to get a little bit, whoa, a little bit more wrap all the way through the shape. Slowly start building that up with some pinching. Alright, let's take a look here. Let's try adjusting this inner edge for our lower lid. And I want to get this a little bit more flat. Empowering Arts, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How goes the empowering? Let's continue pulling that up some more. I think I maybe need to inset the eye a little bit more as well. That's okay. That it's probably a combination of that and just adjusting this lower shape. Start to trim and plane this out. I think that's starting to work a little bit better. Be Blazin maybe. Thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to, ooh, come back please. Pull the neck up here to flow a little bit faster, to translate a little bit faster into this area. A little bit too much of a negative, and maybe we can build up some of this as well. Get a little bit more volume, pull all the way through. What pen display do you use? All my gear is listed down below for everything that I use. I think this is the 27-inch Cintiq, if I remember correctly. Alright, so we're starting to round that out a little bit more. That's definitely feeling better to me. Alright. And this angle from the front view just feels way too pulled in there. I'm trying to get these lines to flow a little bit nicer together. Still getting that effect a little here. Let's continue to adjust this and maybe try turning that angle a little bit more. We're starting to find that shape a little bit better now. Still not quite there. And give me that neck. I'm trying to pull that out now, get that to be a little bit more flush with this area. It's almost like a sternocleidomastoid muscle flowing through there. Almost. Not quite. Same idea, I think. And let's just round out some of this. Clean up some more shapes. I'm probably going to be remeshing this here shortly. And I would also like to merge my mouth in. But before I do that, I am going to open my mouth so this geometry doesn't merge together. Just a quick little pivot there. And it shouldn't be too hard to blend between those areas. Let me turn off my nose. Don't you wish you could just turn off your nose? Maybe for a better nose. Don't you wish you could just sculpt on your own face? I'd probably mess it up. There's some short, I can't remember the name of it, but it is a really interesting, cool short where this little cartoon character, it's in 3D. They order some, and maybe somebody in chat knows what I'm talking about. It's been a long time since I've seen it though. They order some like little tool and they start 3D modeling stuff on their face. Like, I think she first deletes a mole or something, and then another one appears somewhere else. And then she ends up like trying to tweak her nose a little bit, and then it goes completely out of whack, and she looks like looks like a monstrosity. It's really good. It's really good. I can't remember what the name of this short is though. I wish I had that in real life. Give me some 3D modeling. Clean up my house with 3D. Add on some extensions really quick. Maybe in the future, we'll all be 3D modeling and 3D printing our houses. Alright, let's try merging these together. It'll be a little bit messy, like I said, but we'll be able to clean it up fairly easily. I'm going to get rid of these extra T-pose meshes from earlier. And for those wondering that are new here about the dragon up in the corner, that's from our last character stream. We're doing a little dragon boy, and I was just displaying him up there so people could see what we were working on last. And obviously we're not going for this level of texture with this character, but we are going for a lot higher quality. We're still in the blockout phase of our deer boy, but we'll be getting up there. I'm actually going to probably fix this up this weekend so that I can 3D print it. I've already gone through the process of setting it up for 3D printing, so if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out over on my YouTube channel. It's in the last video for this series working on this guy. But yeah, there's some areas that I need to thicken up before I 3D print this. But once I get that, I'll show you guys on stream. That'll be real fun to have. It's been a while since I've done a 3D print. Probably a few months. I have like a ton of these little full color sandstone prints. Here's a Pikachu Totoro fusion. I got a bunch of these down here, but there's some, I don't want to sit here and I feel like I show these off too often, but they are fun. There is a link somewhere down below where you can see more of those. Alright, let's try 300. Sure, I think that'll be fine. And let's look through here. Is this okay? Yeah, that'll do. And I'm just going to spend some time to get rid of some of the garbage areas here, where there are seam lines and where geometry was really pinched. Really just spend some time to clean this shape up. It's also been a while since we've done one of our 3D fusions. Been thinking about who I could do next. What would be two cool characters that we could fuse together? I have a whole list of ideas, but there's not one that's really sticking out to me right now. Maybe you guys have some ideas. Oh, this is so messy. So I would like to... I would like to put in one poly group around this bottom mouth, bottom lip, whatever you want to call it, bottom portion of the mouth, so that when I remesh this, it will respect this edge. Respect my authority. That's real messy. Here, let me do a quick Dynamesh. Clean up this inside of the mesh, just so we don't get any errors. There we go. Alright, so again, just cleaning this up so that I can get a nice, clean selection through here. Mask or polygroup that, so this is now its own polygroup color. And now when I remesh this with keep groups on, make sure that's the right one, yes. When I remesh this, now ZBrush will attempt to put in an edge loop down here. Ugh, felt a yawn coming. It'll put an edge down there around the corners of the mouth, and that will just make everything a lot more clean for us later on for this process. Also, it gives me a group that I can just select, and now I can, you know, select and adjust the mouth by itself, which is also very nice. We'll do a couple subdivision projections here. And then we'll continue on, maybe with our body for a little bit. Let's do a little bit more cleanup on the face, and then we'll jump around on some more stuff, since we haven't taken a look at our body in a little bit. It's taking a little long there. All right. So a little bit more cleanup through some of this area. And I would like to clean up this top plane and try to round it out a little bit more with that nose there. Just looking at this, I'm not liking this curve too much. So I'll really spend some time to just make sure we're getting a nice shape through some of this. We'll be really kind of hardcore focusing in on this stuff as we move forward. I'll at least get a little bit more of a blend between that shape. Make sure it's looking good. Same down here. Even though the bottom of the mouth isn't going to be seen too much, you know, down here, it still affects the surrounding shapes quite a bit. All right, so let's take a look here. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. In our stream on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel, down here we started to adjust our our leg slash hoof. Right now I think I've pushed this shape a little bit too far, and I need to start fixing our hoof down here. I just poly modeled a cylinder to get this basic shape. Nothing too complicated. And if you guys want to see some more hard surface modeling, we can maybe find something in here to work with, or if you guys have any questions about doing hard surface or poly modeling in ZBrush. I've been using the Z modeler brush since it came out. I remember when it first came out, it was fantastic to get that tool finally. Very nice to be able to do all that in ZBrush directly, instead of having to jump out to like Maya or Max or whatever you're using. Let's see. Let's try to get a little bit more volume through here. I don't like how the surface is having this concavity in the silhouette. That's not what we want. That's not what I'm seeing here. So we're gonna be probably, let's try and move back face masking brush here and just start pulling out around there. And the back portion, I think that can maybe be a little bit more of a concave turn there. I don't think it's that big of a deal back there, but some of this I do want to inflate. Feeling a little twiggy. His legs aren't very thin. And probably a little bit too much volume. That's all right. If you want to be using some scale tools here in ZBrush with your 3D gizmo or your transpose line, which is what I typically use, you cannot scale on a symmetrical axis normally. So what you have to do is you have to turn on local sim, and that will scale uniformly on that object. So that'll be a little bit nicer. I'm actually going to move the pivot of this scale down here, and hopefully, yeah, there we go. That's more of what I was looking for. And I think this this shape, I want a little bit more volume on the front of it as well, based on what I'm seeing in our concept over there. And I have a few more references off screen here, but not too much in terms of the legs. What is going on back here? That is there's all sorts of whack. This one in general is very very something. I don't know. Not I guess that's supposed to be their what is that back digit on mammals, on quadrupeds, not mammals, on quadrupeds called? It's not necessary. They I don't think they use it for anything, or most don't use it for anything. I think a lot of people even get that claw removed on dogs that have that like little extra thumb on the side. They have like a similar thing. And I think people remove it because it gets like snagged on stuff and it can get ripped out and bleed, cause them pain. I don't know how common that is. We'll continue to shape this up though. There's a lot of changes that need to be made through here. Verse the World, welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. How are you doing? How's your fight with the world? That's gotta be a toughie. Kinda sad playing with friends, so you had to mute the stream. Missing all the good info, luckily can rewatch it later. Yes you can. Not a problem. All the streams just go up on my YouTube channel after we're done here. So if you guys miss anything or come in late, they're always up on there. There's a link somewhere for that down below. It's just YouTube/Follygon. versus the world. How you doing? Trying to get some more volume on that front portion. I don't know. Maybe start to just kind of force that with my pinch brush, like we were doing before. Yeah, there we go. Starting to feel a little bit. You know what? I think we are closer. Let's see if I can get this surface to turn up here too. I think we've just started pushing that in the wrong direction. I think there's an extra. I don't want to use here. I don't want to use real life reference too much on this. Let me see something. I believe that there is an extra joint. There is an extra joint down there. So many joints. So many joints in these legs. But I believe, I'm not sure if that's an actual pivot point or not. Just dropped my pen. Huh. I know there's this pivot point, but is there like, I guess not, right? I guess not. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm mainly just gonna. I'm using this as my main reference as we come down here, get a little bit more volumetric, and then have that little pull-out shape. There's some extra length, I think, happening here that's maybe throwing me off. So let's just start building this up a little. So oftentimes I'll use my pinch brush to start forcing a planar change in our surface, which is what we've done here for this area. And now I'm just starting to smooth that out, round that back a little bit, using some smooth brush and some of my clay buildup and trim dynamic as well. So not a ton of brushes. I don't really use too many brushes. Just like these main first 5 or so for the most part. And then there are some other brushes that I occasionally grab, but mainly just jumping back and forth between those. Oh, we still got local sim on. Local symmetry can cause some problems depending on what you're working on, so you gotta be a little careful. For the most part though, it should be fine while I'm sculpting on these legs. I kept it on earlier because I was trying to do some scale changes. You need that on if you're working with symmetry. So let's continue here. Simplify that a little bit more, and I was gonna push that hoof up, but instead maybe let's pull this down. I'm also going to hide these back legs. These things are getting in the way. Go away. Go away, back legs. Oftentimes when I'm working on legs for characters or anything that would cross the symmetry plane, like breast, it's really a lot easier if you just work on one at a time. So as I'm rotating around here and I'm trying to get to this inner edge and try to sculpt on here, these are a little bit further apart, so it's a lot easier for me. But a lot of the time, I'll just delete one so that I can get in here. So as I'm like rotating around, it's like, I can't see this area over here quite as well as I'd like to. So what you can do is delete your subdivs and hide one of those. Delete hidden and then reconstruct all your subdivs. And then you have just one to work on. And then of course, for our hoof, I don't really need that. So I can just delete that real quick. Selection lasso tool, delete hidden. Delete hidden's in your geometry modify topology menu. I use that quite often, which is why it's in my quick little hotkey menu that I pop up here all the time. Alright, let's continue to shape this up. A little bit more up through here around this joint. I think in general, maybe I could, we're getting a little weird through here. Let's see. I think in general I could squash some of this down the z-axis here. It's feeling like it was getting, mainly through here, it feels like it's getting just real wide. Maybe that's just me. I am trying to keep this shape a little bit more rounded through here to avoid a lot of those awkward convexities or concavities that we don't want as we start to, you know, smooth in through here. I don't need this surface going the opposite direction. Get a little bit more meat for that connection point. And then eventually what we're going to do is dynamesh that in or merge that into our body in some fashion. Let's I'm going to actually put my leg over on the other side. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Merge one, X, yes. Remirror that across to the other side. And for our hoof, I'll just undo that quick little change that we did. Got perspective here, so we can see how this is shaping up. Still very blocky in the chest, right? But I'm kind of okay with that for now. We've started to get a little bit more of that surface change. If I turn off perspective here, I've started to get the hit of this kind of rib cage area to be a little bit more further out, and then it starts to curve in a little bit more. So that's I think feeling a lot better for that connective point for where those front legs are going to go. But looking at some of the rest of this, I think we could start to maybe get rid of some of these harder pinched areas. It's just a little tight through here. We got our little X butthole back here. I'll get rid of that. And I don't really need these super tight plane changes any longer. Let's see here. I like to look at the silhouette without perspective on, and I'm kind of just examining this curve here. And I'm wondering, like, if we cut this off and just look at this shape, do we want to pull out a little bit more here on the bottom? Do we want to widen that out, get him a little bit more stocky? Let's see. Looking at this image, I think he feels a little bit more squared off with a little bit more of a flat on the side, so maybe pulling out that bottom area a little bit more. And some of these, though, some of these are really awkward, like I said. Got some really weird shapes going through here. I don't know. Maybe some intern drew these at Disney back in 42. By the way, if you guys don't know, I have trouble believing this, but it is true. Bambi came out in 1942. Isn't that crazy? It's so long ago. I love the silhouette of this pose. I haven't really decided on a pose yet. I've just been sculpting mainly based off of our reference over here on the left, but I have a few more of these. I'm gonna use this as a little bit more of a reference for my body over on my other monitor, just so I can get an idea here of how much I want to stockify or fill out some of this form. Let's see, so got this line coming down. Actually, here. Maybe this will be a little bit better once I start to merge in some of our arm meat. Here's something I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna take my legs and just take a little bit of this top section here and merge some of this into my body. Not my body, but my deer's body. And this will help us figure out some of this form. This is kind of similar to what I did up on the head with the back of the neck. I merged in some of that. Where's our... Hold on, where'd our legs go? Where'd those go? I just moved them all around. There we go. All right. So, take our body, merge down with these shapes, and then I'm just gonna Dynamesh these in at probably around 300 or so. Seems to be a good base resolution. Actually, because this is a larger mesh, it's kind of freaking out a little bit on us, giving us 4 million polys. Let's drop this down. Try to get this a lot lower. Gillette, maybe? Gillette, thank you for the follow. And welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's your hump day going? Alright, so I think this is going to help me figure out some of this form through here. As I start to blend some of our upper body. Same with the leg back here. Start to get a little bit more volume through some of this area. I'm just using my clay tubes brush to fill in some of that. I'll be using some trim dynamic and smooth and everything else we got in our toolkit. Let's go a little bit lower maybe. And I'll be remeshing this to clean up a lot of this garbage. Let's see here. So as this comes down, just thinking about this silhouette, I do like a little bit of this curve we got going on. I'm wondering if we square that out a little bit more, it'll make them feel a little bit more stocky, like what I'm seeing in some of these images. I think maybe I've exaggerated this thinning along this waistline. And after we've merged in our back leg, I think that becomes a little bit more obvious. So let's pull out a little bit along this line, this side plane here. A little bit more volume there. Let's see. And to clean this up, I'll be doing a Z remesh with some projection here in just a moment. perspective. I'm wondering if I want to taper in his the front of his torso some more. Side effects. Welcome back. How are you doing? Alright, let's do a quick remesh here so that we can start being a little bit more efficient with our moves. 1K Z remesh should be plenty for this shape. It's not very complicated at all. Time for some fun again, because you're still working on your show reel. Ooh, fun, fun, fun. I'm doing great, thank you for asking. Working on our Great Prince of the Forest. Day number 2. Stream number 3. We streamed on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel last night. And we didn't really have a ton of time to work on this guy, unfortunately, during our first stream, because that's when my pen freaked out on me, stopped working. That wasn't very fun. That's okay though. It's working now. We all good. Ooh, starting to get a little concavity through here. The guy who sounds spooky in the night when mating season is on. Do deer make weird sounds? I know cats make very weird sounds. When I was living in Tokyo for a little bit, there were stray cats everywhere, and holy cow, cats make some weird noises. It's disturbing. I never really... Deer actually growl. I don't know if you guys know this, but deer growl. Or at least they did in the neighborhood where I grew up. Alright, let's fill in some of this, just so we're not getting any awkward shadows around these transitional areas. Maybe not. Let's leave that for a moment. Alright, so, he's feeling a little bit more stocky to me compared to what we were working with before. Oh, I also have 2 tails back here, by the way. Forgot about this. Because I sculpted the initial one just pointing up, and then I was like, in a lot of his silhouette images you can never see his tail. It's always hidden. So I just put one down real quick. I kind of like the one pointing up though. We should definitely work on these back legs some more and try to get that hoof down there as well. Also, this shape is not correct to what we want. Let's see. Have a cat, can confirm that they make weird sounds. Yes. I will have to check out that video later. Let's see. Alright, for our leg, our back leg, it's kind of going off. Let's see. I think I'm going to get a little less of that really sharp bend here. That 1-2 turn. Get a little closer to maybe something like this. Or like that. It's not a very good reference here for that back leg. So let's use this. I'm digging this. It's got just enough curve. I like that shape a lot. The stray cats around Gamers Place breaking houses? How are they doing that? Little burglar cats. They got their ski masks on. Alright, so move this leg forward. Don't adjust up there. That's fine. Yeah. Not fine. Let's see. I'll just have to resculpt some of this as I move it around, which isn't that big of a deal because I kind of wanted to round out some of this anyway. Let's see. I'm just gonna Dynamesh this and then remesh it. The polygons that I had on that were just not helping me out. They weren't doing me any favors. They were actually helping it to stay in that shape because that's the original shape that I made. And now, let's see. Let me just fix this up real quick. You're not sure, you come home from work and there's a cat in the house? What? You don't know where they're coming from? Cat burglars. It's like that Cats vs. Dogs movie. Which is severely underrated. It's been so long since I've seen that. Cat. Could be a tiger, a lion, a cheetah, jaguar, leopard. Aren't those... What is it? Puma, jaguar, mountain lion, or maybe not jaguar. Leopard. They're all like the same name for the same animal, depending on where you live. What is it? Mountain lion, cougar. There's a bunch of names for them. I'm not gonna look it up. It's not that important. Yes, puma and cougar are the same, as well as mountain lion. Jaguars are black, if I remember correct. I don't know if they're all black, but when I think of a jaguar, I think of the Jacksonville Jaguar logo. Alright, we're gonna do some heavy form changes here. You might... What do you mean you may have a hidden entrance underneath your house somewhere? What does that even mean? I may or may not have a hidden entrance for cats to sneak in. I don't know where you live, but it is getting cold out, so things are trying to sneak in your home. I like to imagine that there's a new cat every day in your house. and you take little photographs, pin them on the wall. If you see this cat, do not let inside. Leopards can be black as well. Ooh. You know the famous saying, a leopard doesn't change its stripes, right? Leopard and jaguars are also called black panthers. The more you know. Welcome to my educational cat stream. Glad you could join us. Whoa, no, stop projecting. I didn't mean to click you. Ah! That sucks. It's okay, we'll just undo that after it's done freaking out. So projection is often used. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? It's often used for projecting a similar shaped mesh onto something else, but you can actually project any shape onto any piece of geometry. I could put a sphere on the surface here of this mesh and project that sphere so that the geometry would bevel out or bubble out to fit that shape. But right now it's projecting onto all of this, which is not what we want, so we'll undo that. It's even trying to figure out what's going on down here with the hooves. So that is not what I wanted though. I was trying to close that menu. And I wanted to, let's see. What I wanted to happen was I wanted this bottom portion of my foot so that I could reuse it down here in the back. And then also my hoof. And duplicate that and just move it back here as well. What's going on, guys? Are we out of cat facts? We don't have any more fast facts for cat facts? I like jaguars. Well, cool. I like jaguars. I like deer more. I like sculpting deer more. I really like just a lot of the shapes found in the face of deer, horses. I don't know. They're just really interesting to sculpt. I think they're fun creatures to sculpt. It's been a while since I've done any felines, so maybe that's close up on the horizon. Maybe that can be. Maybe we can do what's his name, Shere Khan from Jungle Book. Something like that would be fun. I sculpted a bear somewhat recently, within the past year or so. So probably not a bear. I want this to turn faster. Oh my gosh, stop. Let's see. These are probably going to be positioned more. I don't really like I said, I don't really like this pose, so we'll be experimenting with that. Let me take this, merge down, slide back. I'll keep these relatively straight up and down for now, and hopefully that'll just to make it easier for sculpting and merging all this stuff together later, but once we get into posing, we'll figure out exactly what kind of changes we want to make there. You saw a jaguar at the Berlin Zoo. That's pretty cool. Don't want to meet that in nature? Well, that'd be pretty rare. Pretty hard to do, I guess, depending on where you live. Body reminds me of a Doberman. Probably the large taper on the back there, up top. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do with that shape. I've tried sliding that edge a few times. Kind of sculpted it for the pose that I want, but we'll be seeing. Doberman. Dog breeds always have the weirdest names. Rottweiler. I'm sure they're all just from another language and translate to like dog or something. Like Shiba Inu. Inu just means dog in Japanese. Starting to get a little bit closer to the shape that I was trying to hit before. Let's see. If you get a cat, you want a several mix with an American cat, which is an actual breed. What? Severals? It's called a several? So it's just a mutt? Like, is that essentially what it is? The mutt version of a cat? I don't know if mutt is... I don't think the term mutt is used with cats. It's kind of funny. Pull back here, try to get that. I'm gonna pull through on all that there. And I don't really need this overlaying, that'll blend just fine later. Although the edge kind of mentally annoys me. Let's see. Rot is red for Rottweiler. Oh, serval. Serval. Not several. The wild African cat. More pet, less wild. Why don't you just get a pet raccoon? And I think my mom had a pet raccoon when she was a kid. We used to have, my sister and I used to have a rabbit, but my sister was deathly allergic to rabbits. Sam Carter, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So we ended up getting rid of a bunny. It was huge though. This thing was a monster rabbit. Was an absolute unit. I'd love to get a dog, but I'm not in a good situation where I could really take care of a puppy right now, and I would prefer to get a puppy, raise it myself. Eventually I will. It's not right this moment. I'd love to get a corgi, something with stubby legs. That a corgi, maybe a Shiba, or I love golden retrievers. My sister has 2 goldens. Did I know that monkeys adopt dogs? I don't think I knew that. Yes, we must domesticate the Bork boys. I've never seen a monkey with a pet, but that sounds like fun. Trying to turn this edge so this side here is a little bit more flat. The way that edge is turning right now isn't incredibly appealing. Where that turn happens right now. I'm trying to get it more. Let's see. Not quite what I was looking for here. Pinch brush is being weird. Let's see. Pet crawdads. I had, not crawdads, but crawdads were always in like the creeks around where I lived. I had a hermit crab. I think its name was Speedy. I think I named it Speedy or Racer or something. Something something stupid like that. You had them in a cutout milk gallon in your room when you were a kid. Your mom made you throw them back in the lake, though. That's awesome. Let's see. They take the dogs for alarms from predators, so they steal puppies. A documentary from India somewhere. It's interesting. Crawdads are kind of gross looking, aren't they? I don't know if crawdads would be considered shellfish. I guess they would. I don't know if that's technically correct. I don't think shellfish have to be saltwater, right? They are shelled sea critters. They're kind of creepy though. Gotta be brave to pick them out of the creek when you're a kid. That's how you know you're one of the cool kids. Let's see. So in some of my references, he's got a lot flatter of a back. Kind of a little bit more like a horse. I'm gonna try this next and see if we can get that feeling a little bit better. And we'll probably end up still keeping some of that slope in there, but for the most part, just getting rid of it. I'm gonna experiment here with the body, and we might need to make the neck a little bit shorter after we play around with pulling some of this up and down and all around. We'll see here. don't want to get attached to any of this stuff that we've done. Never get attached to your work. That's when you're never going to be able to make it better. Can't be afraid to just destroy whatever you have, or even start all over. Probably going to be making these legs quite a bit shorter, but it's okay. Pull that down. Maybe not. Maybe not too much shorter. What happened here? That's fun. Many hotkeys. Alright. Dynamish, please. Sure. 200. What? Well, that's a little funky. Whoops. Oh well. Let's see. They were baboons. That's funny. I'll have to check this out. Baboons with pet doggies. The real question is, what kind of documentaries are you watching? Well, I'm not even going to project that. I don't need that projection. And probably a little bit more. Dynamic getting turned on there is always annoying when you're trying to subdivide. You never want to have dynamic on, dynamic subdivs with actual subdivs as well, unless you have a really good reason. I don't know why you would. It really slows down your ability to sculpt and really do anything. Yeah, there's not much of a reason to have them if you have subdivs. Unless you really just need like a couple subdivs, but you're not getting the smoothness that you need. I don't know why, or like what weird situation that would be. Be pretty rare. Let's see. Probably get a little bit more thin through here. And I watched a documentary about monkeys in India, about baboons in India, and it completely changed my worldview. Is essentially what I just heard. That's awesome. got a lot of back meat going on up here in this image. Not so much in the other image that I'm looking at. I'm trying to plane out some of these changes a little bit more so. Give him this just very sexy deer back. Gonna have to adjust a lot of this. Let's see. I did like the kind of transitional shape that we were getting in some of that, like here. This one. I do like this pose a lot, and maybe we'll start to get some of that back in once we do get to posing, but at least for now I'm gonna try to square off a little bit more of his body, just so at least in the neutral here we can get that in a little bit nicer place. Maybe make his neck a little bit shorter, head a bit bigger, and just kind of focus in on changing some proportions here for a little bit. A lot of this is planed out really tight, which is just fine. Start to get some of that volume back in on the side. Let's see. I'm just looking at the sides of the body here, trying to figure out exactly where I want this plane change to start occurring. Let's get a little bit more volume through some of this. These subdivs are really helpful in just cleaning up some of this junk after I fill in a volume really quick. I step up and down typically just through my subdivs so that I can very quickly clean up my surface at different levels. So if I have a lot of this in here at a higher subdiv, I'll need to step back down and start working on adjusting that. I shouldn't really have done that though. It's fine. We'll sculpt it out ourselves. We don't need the undo button. Really, a lot of the time, if you don't do this already, try doing a challenge where you don't use undos at all. You'll find out that undos really aren't that necessary. Undos, at least for me, the only time I'm really using undos is when I make like some huge mistake where if I'm using lazy mouse on a brush, sometimes you'll be pulling an edge and then it like cuts across your mesh really quick. I'll undo that and get rid of it. But like most of the time there's not too much that I need to jump back on. Let's head into Transpose Master for a moment. ZBrush change your world as well. Hey Hennel, how are you doing? Dragon looks great. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to work on. I can pull him up real quick. Twitch Genekisi? I don't know. Thank you for the follow either way. And welcome to the stream. Yeah, this dragon was a lot of fun though, Hennel. I'm probably, let's see here. There are only a couple things that I need to change on it so that I can get this set up for 3D printing. It's going to be a pretty small 3D print just because the print-on-demand websites are pretty expensive. I just need to thicken up some areas around the teeth and around the, what would you call it, like the fin on the back. It just gets a little bit too thin in some of these areas, and it's going to cause some print failures. So I'm going to thicken up some of those areas and then just re-upload it, see how that does, and then probably order one for my desk. Yeah. Be fun. Now we're working on, what's his name? Bambi. Bambi's dad. Not Bambi, but his papa. The great prince of the forest, as he is known. It is known. We were in T-pose, that's right. I'm going to do some quick changes here. I was thinking that we would want to probably... I don't know if I want to make this neck a little shorter. Let me see. Keep perspective on for a moment. I also want to, I was thinking about scaling up some of the head here. Let's see. Just based on what I'm seeing in some other images. And I don't really want to match the angle of this. I'm trying to keep that relatively kind of straight on. Let's see here. So let's take a look. Wow. Alright, so very boxy in this image here, right? Very, very squared off along that back. And then we got a little bit of extra form around here that is kind of representative of this this leg, that shoulder, kind of there, it looks like. And then up here, and this is what I've seen in a few of these images, getting that sloping back. Some more maybe around here that could be the arm. But in some of these, like getting this really arched back here, and I think this is more so because of this pose, but I think I would like to try to get a little, I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking with this image over here on my left, but a little bit more like this, a little bit more squared off with a slight slope coming up around the arms, the shoulder area, up around here. So flatten that out. Let's see. He's definitely very squared off in the butt. He's got a little bit of extra volume around where his leg would be there. Maybe we can just try flattening that out some more. Pulling that edge down. And let's see. Let's just grab this area here with a mask and try a little bit too much. Try pulling this down. I want to get a little bit of that arch going on there. And I think we need to adjust some of the distances between our legs here. What's the best way to do this? Let's just grab our back leg first. And probably just this entire area would be easiest to do this all at once. not here. I kind of want to go a lot wider here. I think what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to merge part of this neck down into the body so that we can make a little bit of a nicer translation here between this area. So where is my neck? Let's duplicate this, bring it down to our body, delete lower, yes. And I'm just going to straight up merge all that together. And delete a portion of this. So I don't need all of this. Let's see. That should give me what I need. This is mainly what I wanted this for, so I can start cleaning up through here. Because just the way I had that cut off there, this geometry was rounding off here and it wasn't really flowing very well. A lot of stretching for the polys going on, but really that's okay. Finally, the audio's back. What happened with the subtools? I don't know. What did happen with the subtools? They went nuts. What? What are you talking about? The Subtool Master? Probably the Subtool Master, right? It's just so you can work on multiple subtools at once. Alright, I keep saying Subtool Master. Transpose Master. Gosh dang it. The Transpose Master. It's just a plugin. It's been in ZBrush for as long as I can remember. Up here, Z plugin, Transpose Master, T-Pose Mesh, or T-Pose Sub T. Alright, this will definitely help with this area that I've been trying to get from the back. Like heckin' nuts. Do you recommend using the subdivision basics rather than Dynamesh? No, I recommend using both. I don't know what you mean by subdivision basics. One is not more basic than the other. But if you're struggling with trying to figure out when you should use Dynamesh and when you should ZRemesh and use subdivs and all that, that's definitely like an early kind of hiccup. You'll figure it out. If you're looking for more examples of how I work, though, you know, I have my live stream here where I'm kind of jumping back and forth between Dynamesh and also subdivs, much like what I just did here. But I also have a ton of free stuff over on my YouTube, and then even on my Gumroad, I have a lot more content that I put a lot more work into as well. Just noticed you didn't start off with Dynamesh all the time. Yeah, I actually typically start with Dynamesh on a sphere. So we started with a sphere for all of this, we started with a sphere for all of this guy up here. The reason why I start with Dynamesh on a sphere, though, here. So here's a sphere, right? Now let's say I want to start making a face. Alright, so let's start sculpting our face. I'm going to start pulling and pushing and shaping this up into my basic face shape, and you know, I could add some subdivisions here and start blocking out where some of these edges are going to go, and figure out where my nose is, and then start, you know, pulling out my jawline and figuring out where all this is going to be. And I can continue to add subdivs to this as I sculpt this up, but the more and more that I'm, you know, warping my surface and sculpting and pinching and adding more geometry here and pushing and pulling stuff around, the more stretched everything gets. So what ends up happening is it's really difficult to manipulate your surface with all that stretching going on. So I'll just run a quick Dynamesh. I'll just use the default right now. I'll probably even go a little bit lower when I'm blocking stuff out in the beginning. That way I can push and pull and stretch stuff out, and the geometry gets stretched, but if I re-Dynamesh, it doesn't even matter. And then after a while, I'll do a duplicate and, you know, maybe do a ZBrush and drop this down really low, and we'll let that calculate. And after it's done, what I'll probably do is do a quick projection on this. So it's just a matter of flipping back and forth between the two whenever you need Dynamesh or whenever you need low-res topology. So how do we get up to this shape now from this? You add a subdivision, you project, subdivision, project, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to delete all that unless we have any questions. Class, please raise your hand if you have a question. I will not answer questions unless the hand is raised first. I'm very strict teacher. I'm sure there's a hand emote. It's gotta be, right? Alright. We got that blending a little bit better. Jay Murphy, I call upon you. You may ask your question. Handy to know, you've been using Dynamesh on 100% pretty much, remeshing it occasionally. It's no good. Yeah, a lot of new people are kind of just confused, I think, about the process for working in ZBrush, and it's definitely something that is going to take a while before you figure out your process for how you need to work. Everybody works differently though, so you know, you don't need to copy the exact way that I work. Find out your own way, but you can probably learn some new tips and tricks from other artists. No question. Just wanted to raise my hand. Why, you little... Zeratul is out on StarCraft 2, guys. Wow. Very cool. I have no idea what that means. Maybe some kind of expansion. I could not care less about StarCraft. I'm gonna play StarCraft on stream, and I'm gonna use my tablet for clicking around. I think it'd be funny to try playing an FPS with my Cintiq. I've never tried it, but I think it would be fun. Like, click your enemy real quick. That'd be so slow. And your arm would get exhausted. There are a ton of great free tutorials and content online. Follygon YouTube/Follygon, and tons of paid content as well. Gumroad/Follygon. But yeah, definitely, it's great that there's so many resources online now. When I started sculpting, there really wasn't a ton online, so I bought a couple books and went crazy. There wasn't really anybody streaming any any sculpting. From what I remember, John and Lena were some of the first people that I remember seeing regularly streaming online. And John's been streaming. John Nichols been streaming. Hazardous Arts. He's been doing a lot lately. And he's been doing a lot of games. I saw him playing Dragon Quest the other day. Dark Souls on tablet. Dude, I love Dark Souls so much, Gliffy. Grade A clickbait. Oh no. I'll pass. Thanks. So now you ruined it. I can just see it. All caps, title, thumbnail. Oh, look at me clicking on my tablet. All caps, title. Does Dark Souls... playing Dark Souls with Guitar Hero guitar. Like, okay. Alright. Just click that little 3 dots next to the video thumbnail. Hide forever. Why? Why don't you want to see this content? I never want to see this channel again. Whenever I see that kind of crap, I always make sure to tell YouTube, no thanks. I'm good. I'm cool. YouTube actually, I don't know if it's sending out the survey for everybody, but there's a YouTube survey going around for creators. That's pretty funny. It's like, what do you think about... It's a pretty long survey, too. It's like, what do you think about YouTube's communication? Do you think that clickbait is an issue on YouTube? And all these questions that are like, oh my god. YouTube. YouTube will... I don't think YouTube will ever learn. My back's so flat. We've been noodling a little bit on here since I've cleaned that up, but it's getting a little bit better. Let's see. You got that dude on follow, Hazardous Arts. What do you do if you don't have a raised hand emoji but like 32 questions? Murph me had a raised hand emoji. Well, you know, I'll let it slide this time. You're allowed to ask questions without raising your hand. I'll recognize it. What is up? This got all messed up. Oh. Whoop. So we're going to be continuing kind of in this block out phase. We're kind of, you know, past the initial block out. Now it's a lot about finding the proportions that we want and really getting through a lot of these places and starting to clean up our geometry a little bit more. Make sure our forms are reading really well. We're getting there. It's just a matter of time. Let's see. Is that Michelle Obama? Raising your hand? What is that? Hey guys, it's so tiny it looks like Michelle. There's no way it can't. There's no way it is. It has to be some Twitch streamer, right? The emoticons, emotes, they're so tiny. I always have to hover and figure out what it's from. Football touchdown ref. Let's see. Question 1 out of 42. How do you go about rendering the sculpt for posting it on, say, ArtStation? Like if you were to post this deer. That's a pretty large question. Depends on what kind of what all you want to do. If you just want to show off your sculpt, I recommend rendering in something else. Like, there's a lot of options out there anymore. But in ZBrush, if you just want some quick render tips, what I would start off doing, if you just want to do like a quick, like, black and white, here's my sculpt. I'm not going to move that. Go up into your render palette up here, and let's see. Open up your BPR shadow. Some quick render settings for you. Set your G strength to 0.25. Up your raise to... It won't really matter initially. This will just make your render take longer. I'm gonna set these really low right now, and it's gonna make our shadows look a lot worse, but that's okay. Set your angle to like 15 or 20, 15, 25, somewhere around there. It'll just make your shadows less harsh. This just decreases the strength of your shadows, so we're not getting like pure black on there. And then again, the higher this ray count is, the longer the render is going to take, so I'm just going to keep that lower. I'm just going to do shadows. I'm not going to mess with any of the other settings, and then I'm just going to click on BPR and let that do its thing. Again, the 35 ray count, it's going to make this look not quite as good as it could, but it'll be fine. And then I'm not even going to move my light. I'm just going to keep it in the basic position there. So this is going to give you a lot softer shadows in a lot of these areas here where we're seeing some of this. And if I were to actually, we'll just do a quick render turning that down, and I'll set that back up to around where, whoops, back up to where it was. Oh my gosh. Just so you can see the difference. And then what I also recommend doing is grabbing a few different render passes. A really easy way to do that is go into your Z plugin menu and use ZBrush to Photoshop. And then you can get a bunch of different render passes in here really quick and then composite them in Photoshop. So this is without the shadow changes that I made. And you'll see the difference here. And I would also say, so if we look down here, it's not as obvious from this angle with my light, but you can see some of it down here. We're getting like this really harsh cutoff between our shadow. That's what that angle slider changes. And you can maybe see some of that a little bit in the mouth there as well. So again, just come in here, lower that shadow strength down a bit. You can really up these rays. I mean, there's no reason to go, depending on your resolution, of course, you know, if this is a 10K image, God, why would you do that? You could render maybe like 200 or 300 rays, and again, set that angle to like 15, 25 or so. And then there are a few other passes. You can start getting AO, subsurface scattering, and you can export these individually as well. The shaded render here has all of that baked into one for you, though, at the end of the shebang. But yeah, that's what I recommend if you're just trying to do a quick clay render of something that you've sculpted in ZBrush. I would also say no amount of rendering and materials and special effects is going to save crappy forms. So if it doesn't look good in a screenshot just here in ZBrush, it's probably not going to look much better when you go to render it. There are some things that you can do to hide some garbage, but for the most part, I mean, I want to do a quick render of this, maybe in like Keyshot real fast or something, after I thicken up some of the teeth and stuff. But I would also be totally fine just like posting a screenshot of it. I'm fine with posting screenshots. Just showing off the sculpt as is. Nothing fancy. But again, it depends what you're posting the render for. If you're trying to make a film-ready character, then you're probably going to want to show off your maps, your UVs, your the flow of your topology, and everything else, just so people know what's going on. Not as good as that one though. Yes. The Ariel, hey, thank you for the sub. I just wanted attention. The voice to chat, voice to speech, is that what it's called? Text to speech, voice to speech. I'm so stupid. The text to speech was a little quiet there. I don't know if you guys could hear it. I just wanted attention. Well, thank you for the sub, Ariel. I appreciate it a lot. How are you doing? How's work going? Working on anything fun today? Does it help to use the render palette and switch to best instead of fast? I would just click the BPR button that is, let's see, oh yeah, it's in here. You can also click on best here. BPR stands for best preview render, if I remember correctly. But the best render is actually a little bit different. I'm not entirely sure what it actually calculates differently, but I never like the way it looks. I always think that it looks terrible. And you can render that as a pass in the ZBrush to Photoshop plugin that I showed you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm never a huge fan of how that ends up looking. Just want to keep posting work in progress images. Got lucky and ended up on trending on ArtStation and wanted to post a bit better render. Yeah, I don't know. It's totally up to you. Like I said, it depends. What are you modeling, and what are you modeling for? You got to take all that into consideration. But I do, if you guys are interested in rendering, I guess specifically in Keyshot, over on Gumroad, I have in this course, my Sculpting, Stylizing, and Appealing Female Face course. It actually includes my render setup, and so my render scene in Keyshot and all my materials, my lighting setup. But if you only want that and you don't want the rest of the course, I actually split that off and have just the render scene in those few tutorials for how you set up your renders in Keyshot the way that I work. So if you guys are interested in that, that's just on my Gumroad, which there's a link below for. If you're interested in grabbing my render setup. A few people have been asking for that in the past a while ago, so I eventually just put it up on there so people stopped bothering me about it. That's how you get me to post stuff online. Just keep annoying me. Fine. I'll share it. You can have all my crap. I don't care. Trying to get a little bit more volume up over this eye. So that was question what? 1 of 42 from Wyvern. That means we got 41 more. Or I guess that was another question, maybe. Is there another question? I don't see a question mark, so you're still good. You got 41 more, dude. Oh no. This is not turning the way I need it to. 3 of 52. What? You can't just up that number on me. Let's see here. 1 second. Do you prefer Keyshot over Marmoset? Keyshot. I used to have a love-hate relationship with Keyshot. I do like Keyshot, but it definitely does have some drawbacks. If you're just trying to render a sculpt, something that's high poly, I think Keyshot is going to be more suited towards those needs, and just quickly import some stuff. If you want to make it a little bit easier to work with, you can even decimate your models and drop them in there. With Marmoset, that's a little bit more for prevising stuff in real time, or for setting up your real-time characters. So they can both be used for vice versa. Both of those softwares can be used for the other. If you want to set up your sculpt in Marmoset, you can absolutely do that. If you want to set up something with your textures and texture maps and UVs and everything in Keyshot, you can absolutely do that as well. I just think Keyshot's more suited towards maybe the physical side of that. Keyshot is used a lot in industrial design, and I think its closest competitor is probably what's it called, Octane, which I've never had the pleasure to play with. But maybe somebody in the comments or in the chat knows some more options for you. Man, this is not getting the volume I need it to have. This really... let's try using an inflate. And then start to pull that back some. Marmoset's great for baking textures. Yeah, I have seen that. I've seen that it has some cool tools for correcting skewing and stuff like that. That's pretty neat. 3.B, 3.B out of 52. Matte caps can't be moved over. To Keyshot. Marmoset software for that clay look. I don't think so. With the ZBrush to Keyshot bridge, you might be able to get some of those materials to transfer. I don't have the bridge though, so you might want to check the forums on that to see if that's a possibility. I don't know. I would guess not, but I'd say there's a chance. Again, I don't have the bridge though. Oh, come back, please. Oh my gosh. Being dumb. Stop. Stop rotating. Getting this closer. So I'm pinching up along this edge, and then I'm going to soften this so that it starts to get some of this wrap that I'm looking for around here. Kind of like this weird tuck-in shape. Kind of hard to explain. Just to increase that shadow through there. It'll be a little bit more apparent, I think, once I dynamesh in this lid. But we're getting like that strong shadowed area there, which is never something that I enjoy having on a surface that should be flat. Let's see, where's my image here? Oh, you can use matte caps with GoZ. Huh, I didn't know that. I don't actually use, wait, no, I don't think GoZ works with Keyshot. Yeah, the Keyshot bridge. They might. I don't have the Keyshot bridge, like I said. Yeah, GoZ does not work with Keyshot. That would be awesome. Don't even need to buy the Keyshot bridge. Oh, odd stuff. If only you were the first person to come in here and say, oh dear. You are. I think you are. Somebody had made the joke that they needed a reason to say oh dear later on. But they never actually made the joke. They preemptively said that they might. Nothing works with core apart from matte caps. It is an easy joke, yes. That's alright. Take what you can get. Take those easy jokes. So this area up top here that I've masked right now, I need to fix this shape. I think I need to plane that out a little bit more, flatten that. Based off of some of these guys here. I kind of like that. This guy's face is different in all of these images. I swear. It's a little bit different. Some of them a lot different. That's okay. We're trying to find that appeal. And if that takes looking at a bunch of different versions of this character, we'll eventually get it. It's a matter of time. I want to, the head feels too flat on top, and from the front it feels squirrely. Feels squirrely or bunny-like. And on some of these images, it's got a little bit of a ridge around the eye, some it doesn't. Like in this guy, it does not. Got a little bit of a tighter plane change around that brow section that I said we might want to plane off a little bit more, like through here. Let's see. See if some of that tweaking that area will help us out. I think another thing I would like to do here, now that we're kind of getting a little bit more into it, is merge that point for the antlers, that beginning section. I'd like to merge that down onto our head. I do think that plane break is starting to help a little though. Bill, what are you doing? I thought I could buck the trend. Alright, well, I'm sorry everybody, it was nice knowing Bill, but we have to ban him now forever from the chat. I'm just kidding. Bill knows what's up. No puns. No puns. Puns are not allowed. These jokes are staggering. God damn it. Flat those edges like a chamfered edge. I'm not sure which edge we're referring to. Bill. We have to ban him. Takit, thank you for the follow. What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Ooh, will there be a punishment for these jokes? Alright, well, I guess I can just ban everybody, sure. If that's what it takes. Like Oprah up in here, you get a ban, you get a ban. Everybody gets a ban. Dope. Got a Homer Simpson. Oh, this curve. This curve sucks. Probably gonna do some stuff to angle those eyes a little bit more this direction. We'll just rotate that in a transpose master in a bit. Poor Bill. Because the face looks the face. The face is fat. The face looks flat. Chamfering the edges. Yeah, I don't. If you're talking about the tight edges that I have in some of these areas, I'm leaving these in intentionally for now. These will be smoothed out later, but I need the plain block out right now as I figure out the space more. Now whoa, I don't know what exactly I was saying looked flat, but I was attempting to flatten some of this along the ridge, top ridge of the head here. Which is helping, at least in the silhouette. So to get that beginning portion for the antlers, the fleshy part, I think it's still like pretty hard, but it has fur over it. I don't really need to look at the deer face. I don't really need to look at real examples here, but sometimes they can be helpful. Yeah, I guess it's just the tufts of fur on a normal deer. I don't know how much of a buildup there actually is of the flesh around that. Like I said, it's not a huge deal here for our stylized deer. But if you look here, if you see where that cutoff line is right there, it's pretty far how much that's pulling up, but we'll do a little bit of that. It's not quite that apparent in some of our other images. But the way we will do that is we're going to take our antlers, duplicate our antlers, and just grab these bottom edges down here, just this, delete everything else, and let's see, oops. We're just going to inflate these around that area a little bit. So that's in Tool, Deformation, Inflate. And I want to hide my antlers. My antlers. And try merging in this neck a little bit better. What is this? Ah, that's my neck from my body. Got all this overlapping geometry in there. It's a little unnecessary. Alright, so for this here, come on, select the right thing. Add a couple subdivisions. Those will close holes automatically on Dynamesh, which is fine. And I'm just going to merge these together. Merge together. Now you could run a close holes op on these, which is in Geometry Modify Topology down there. But I'm just going to Dynamesh. Either way, it doesn't matter. Maybe we could up the resolution a little bit for the Dynamesh, but I don't know. I think it's probably fine. Let's see here. And then what I would like to do, I'm probably not going to make these quite this long, kind of like they're appearing here. Again, this is just going to be a representation, I think, of the fur. Let's see. So if you look at some of these, the color change happens a little bit up that portion of the horn, or horn antler. Same thing, right? And even here. We'll probably go for a little bit closer to this length here. So I'll be cutting off a lot of that. But before we cut it off, I'm going to use my trim dynamic brush to essentially just fill in this area here. Just a little bit. And then smooth out this transition. If you give him a hat, he could be a stylish deer. Yes, I agree. Be styling. How would a hat work with antlers, though? How would you even put that hat on? I mean, of course you could cut holes for the antlers, but that's not gonna work. How you gonna? How is the deer gonna put it on? Gotta think about these things, man. Come on. It's looking good, right, dear? Right, dear, right, dear? Next person that makes a pun is permanently banned for 2 seconds. Fashion hunters. Forever dapper. Something like that. Alright, so what I will do is use my slice curve. Yes, slice curve. And pull a cut through here. Let's change that angle a little bit. And the thing with your slice curve brush is that it is not a symmetrical operation. So you'll have to make it symmetrical after you make the cut. Let's see here, I'm just trying to line that up a little bit better. Let's take a step back here. Yeah, and then so the reason I'm doing it on the left side of the x-axis is because that's the positive side. So when you run a mirror and weld, it'll go over to the other side. Just make sure those are symmetrical. And then, yeah, there we go. And then we'll just work on that connection a little bit more. We have not touched our ears in a long time, have we? We should do that. We should touch our ears. Everybody touch your ear. We should sculpt our ears. Doom. Alright, Doom's gone. Doom's gone forever. Look, I'm not going to count that one because you just used a pun that somebody else used. You gotta get more creative than that. If you want to get banned, you gotta be creative. I miss him already. He was but a small lad. Gone forever in the blink of an eye. I just imagine you're at your keyboard. Must type pun. Can't help myself. Must make all the deer puns. Around here, what I was planning on doing was, let's see, I might be able to just push this in a little. This might work. I'm gonna try inflating this. Don't know if this will work. I'm hoping it will. Maybe a little bit more than what I wanted. I'll keep that for now, I think. It's a form of art. Yes, much like sculpting, making puns is a form of art. You meet someone, what do you do? I'm an artist. Oh, what kind? You draw? No. I just make shitty puns all day. You might say I'm punny. Ha 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 ha. And then you get a drink thrown in your face because you're a terrible person that makes puns. Those deer puns make people hoof and poof, hoof and puff, huff and puff. I know what you're trying to say. It didn't quite land. Alright, you can go back to the drawing board. You need to see some better puns from you. Transpose, please. Verbal sculpting. I sculpt with my words. You wouldn't understand. You're like my parents. You don't understand. That joke was worth $1 million. See, that was a pretty good one. I'll take that. That's about as good as puns get. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Well, look, the standards for puns have to be high because all puns belong in a dumpster, and then that dumpster needs to be flushed down a giant toilet. That's where puns belong. Let's see. I need that angle. I think even tighter, maybe. I sculpt pain and misery. I rolls eyes. I have very strong opinions about fine art. And how I think it's total BS. Can you rein in these guys? Oh my god. Bill, alright. Bill, I just banned you and unbanned you really quick, but now you're gonna have to get banned again. You have to be high to enjoy it. Kind of, yeah. BS equals best sculpt, obviously. It does not. Fine art, man. I can't remember the artist. I can't remember the artist, but there was a guy. I only remember the one important part of this story. But there's this guy that, he was an artist and he created a bunch of stuff, and no matter what he did, everybody loved it. It didn't matter. So eventually, the guy just shits in a box. And everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. Apparently it's at some museum. It's like at some museum somewhere. The guy just took a dookie in a box. People were like, art. This is beautiful art. You've pushed the boundaries of what art can be. You've done it. And now people pay money to go see this poop in a box. This is how I look at all fine art. Oh no. I got a lot of stretching going on there now. Are you a Shane Olsen student? I am not. I'm not a Shane Olsen student, Doom. But I've heard Shane's course is really great. I've heard a lot of great recommendations. Shane is a... you did say Shane Olsen. I was going to say, if you just said Shane, it's going to elaborate for everybody. But yeah, if you guys don't follow Shane already, definitely go give Shane a follow. He's a really cool dude. He, I don't know what his schedule is, but he also sculpts on the Pixologic ZBrush channel. He's been doing that for quite a while. Let's see. Kind of trying. Let's see here. Your block out reminds me of his work. Very clean and geometric. Well, it is geometry, so it makes sense. Can we clip that part where you say VS equals best sculpt so I can use it in a fact reference? Go for it. Go crazy. Merde the artist. Is that the poop in a box guy? Do you do anything with looks like hair? Most of the time you just paint it as a block. I'm not sure I understand your question. I just thought of a pickup pun related to this. Are you a pun because you're fine art? Puns are not fine art! But they're just about as crappy as fine art. No offense to the fine artists out there. I just don't like fine art. What happens? What happens if you Google fine art? What's like the first image? Of course. Some of this stuff, it's like classics, but then again, like here. Oh, what's this sculpture park? There's a sculpture park just north of Cincinnati, and I can't. It's not called the Cincinnati Sculpture Park. What is this? Pyramid Hill. Pyramid Hill. Like this. Like this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff, I'm just like... Look at this beautiful family. How do I open an image? There we go. Guys, look at this beautiful family enjoying this fine art. This is what it's all about. This is what fine art is. That's amazing. Great stuff. Good job, fine art. A friend of mine was actually... We had a very short stint of... On my YouTube channel, you can... I don't know. They might be up there now. I'm not sure. But we did this... we did maybe like 4 or 5 recordings of a thing where we just talked about, you know, art and our journey as artists. And at the time, he had just gone to an art exhibit where some guy had taken 2 metal discs. They're just 2 metal cylindrical sheets, glued them together perpendicular, and then took a lemon drop, like a little piece of yellow candy, if you know what a lemon drop is, or a lemon sourhead. What are those called? Lemon drop, sure, whatever, it doesn't matter. And just glued that on top of that, and it was like art, and it was at an exhibit. Isn't that art, guys? My friend was in school at the time, and he was like, his professor was like, essentially egging him on and being like, well, you know, you got to find the meaning in it, blah, blah, blah. There's like, when I say fine art, I mean the fine art that I don't like is this like sculpture type stuff that I just showed you, where I'm like, this is nothing. Your splatter painting is nothing. But then there is intentionally done art with a great deal of skill and time spent in, and years of pre-work that went in to develop those skills. That's where I'm like, yeah, I'm into that. I can get behind that stuff. I'm like, yeah. It's a metaphor. Let's see. The raindrop from Vancouver. What's this? They give a ton of money to this guy and ask him to make the sculpture of the city. He actually made a water drop. Ooh, fancy. They have a voxel whale. Voxel stuff is pretty cool. There's actually a website where you can go and upload your 3D models. If you don't know what a voxel stuff is, it's essentially like that Minecraft look, right? But there's a website you can go to and upload your 3D models, and it will voxelize them for you. And you can like choose the resolution. It's really cool. I don't have the link anymore, but I'm sure if you just Google 3D model voxelizer or something like that, you can probably find it. What is going on in this mouth? Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Ugh, mess with that later. Let's see. Let's take a step back and just look at some stuff. I was talking earlier about widening out the front of the chest. Lots of things we can do here. I love how you take more than 2,000 years of art to the dumpster because someone paid some money for something. City halls being the ones in charge of saying what's worth paying for art. It's true. There's an artist that uses their puke to do paintings. Fun. Sounds interesting. Not in a good kind of interesting. If you can't tell by the tone of my voice, it's disturbing. But guys, it's art. Come on. Don't you understand art? You guys just don't understand my art. That's like goatsy level of art. I'll pass, thanks. Thank you, but no thank you. I think getting that transitional piece of geometry really did help out a lot. Oh no, let's see. I guess let me play around with this, I guess, a little bit and see if this added volume helps. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not as much as I'm thinking. How much longer are you streaming? I have to tinkle. At least another half hour. So you got plenty of time for a tinkle, I would hope. If your tinkles take longer than 30 minutes, maybe you should feel like an infomercial. If your tinkles take longer than 30 minutes, speak to a doctor. Itching, burning, side effects may occur during tinkle. yeah, at least another 30 minutes. But if you do miss anything, all the streams go up on my YouTube channel, so no worries. Or for people that are jumping in here towards the end, all the streams go up on my YouTube. It's just YouTube/Follygon. There's a link somewhere down yonder, down below, down yonder on the Chattahoochee. I need to square out this butt more. And my other tail. My other tail is inside his butt. Great. Isn't that where your tail is? Actually, technically, I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Tails, our tails are technically inside our butt. Our coccyx, right? Our feet, last few vertebrae are all fused together. This guy down here. What's this little guy called? It's not your coccyx, is it? Is that right? Yeah, your coccyx. That's right. I wasn't going to try to spell coccyx because I know that I can't. But now I can for this brief moment in time until I forget once I close this tab. I already forgot. Bang, link, info, life. Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any of those commands. But if you scroll down, there's all sorts of info down there on the stream page. Holy crap! These dogs outside are gonna murder each other. Squaring off that booty. There's no tinkle command. Yes, I should set up a command for tinkle breaks. I myself will have to tinkle here soon. And also eat some lunch. If I didn't have to eat or tinkle, then I could just stream all day, forever. Not feeling this right now. Let's round that out more, I guess. I think we're right around here, and let's transition this a little bit faster. Let's see. Can you have those BRB screens say P right back? That's pretty good. Maybe. I do have a quick little BRB there. The stream will be back shortly. So professional. Let's see. I gotta maximize my pun and question time. No P breaks! Must maximize my time. Well, don't end up like the Wii lady that tried to win a Wii and held her Wii. And I think I can't remember if she ended up dying from that. I think she ended up damaging some stuff. This was a while ago, when the Wii was a thing. When the Wii, do you guys remember the Wii? Do you guys remember it? The Wii was like crazy popular for a while there. Like you could not find one in a store for the longest amount of time. I'm convinced that Nintendo products are the best investment that you can make. Don't buy gold. Don't buy gold, don't buy silver. Buy buy Nintendo products and just throw them in a closet somewhere for like a decade and then pull them back out. Well, bam, they're like worth 10 times their original value. Maybe not the Wii, but some of that stuff. Some of those older N64, NES games, all that stuff. If you have a Nintendo 64 in its original box, it's probably worth quite a bit. Or any of those older consoles. Original packaging, all that jazz. Let me save this guy out, which I have not done in quite a while. I've just been doing some quick saves here. Nintendo greater than Bitcoin? Maybe currently. Give it some time. Give that little Bitcoin guy some time. He'll get up there again. Nostalgia pays. Yeah, I guess it does, doesn't it? Marik Perla. That sounds close enough, right? Thank you for the follow, though. And welcome to the stream. I've kind of messed up some of these curves down here, just the topology in general and how tight that's getting. I'll be remeshing that. Let's see here. Let's do this. Merge these together, make sure that's lining up okay. And yes, sure. Whoops. Here, I'm just gonna do like 400. Up that resolution just a little bit. Yeah, because that's a more geometry there, it's gonna take up more topology, so that's fine. 3 or 4 million. We're gonna be remeshing it either way. I think, where'd my image go? I think from the profile, it's a little bit straighter in this image, but in some of these it's got a little bit more of an S curve. A little bit more rounded there. I don't know. I don't think the shape looks terrible, so I'm probably not going to change it too much here. I'll just leave it in this neutral pose for now. But I will be doing some blending around some of these areas. So let's start doing some of that here. Can you think of a way to make subtools look like, so just an object look like crystals in ZBrush? You want to try KDA Ari with crystal tails. KDA Ari. I don't know KDA Ari. But yes, if you go back on my YouTube channel, one of the videos of me working on my witch character during October, I made this little gem up here, maybe a little bit easier to see from this angle. And the way that I did that, there's a few things, but maybe a way to get you started. Either go check out some of those videos so you can watch it in real time and get an idea of how I went through that process, or try using like here, let's grab really quick just a sphere, start off, maybe make the whatever basic gem shape you want, whether it's going to be like a prism or whatever, or like a double prism, whatever like a D4 shape is. And maybe start using one of your trim brushes or H polish. I would start off using a trim brush to create your faceted faces. It depends on how specific the gem shape is. Like, it might be easier to just poly model it or something. But something like this can, work as well. So start off with like a trim and then maybe go back through and use H polish to really get through here and sharpen up some of these edges a little bit more. But yeah, that would be my recommendation to get you started. And then again, that video where I worked on my witch for that gem should help you out some more too. Let's see here. Back to our neck. But there's always a million ways to do everything. So like I said, it might be easier to poly model it just straight up. I don't know without actually looking at it. Oh my gosh, I just crashed ZBrush. I knew that was gonna happen. It's been happening lately when I cancel remeshes. I don't know why. It's really annoying though. And it doesn't do it every time. It's like you can't replicate this crash. And I didn't get a quick save, I know, off of that, which is very annoying. Let's see. Have I seen the new currency spam that was made by the guys of PayPal? I have not. I have not heard about this. Let's see. Are the PayPal guys digging for another way to make more money, as if they don't make enough already? This is a pretty far back version. Good thing I think the... So I guess my save that I did, my manual save's a little bit further along. That kind of sucks, but this kind of stuff happens from time to time. It is to be expected. I don't know what all I exactly changed here before that crash, but it's okay. I'm gonna remerge my neck and my head back together. Ugh. It's always fun, right? There's a lot of garbage geometry down in the mouth here. I'm gonna try cleaning it up a tad. So annoying. Let's see. Should have specified it was mostly in relation to matte caps and rendering. If you're trying to use a material in ZBrush to get that gem-like feel, try using the jelly bean material. That's what I used on that gemstone. And then go into your... Whoops, that's not what I want. Grab your material, go to jelly bean, go to your material settings, modifiers, and just bring the ambient up to like 40 or so. And then pick a color, and this is pretty smooth, but you'll get a nice gem-like appearance. If it's faceted, it should look even better. Just trying to clean this up just a little bit so that when I remesh this, it doesn't freak out in here. I just have a very small opening for the mouth so that when I close that up, it'll have, it'll look a little bit nicer. Having those be separate can help with that area translating a little bit nicer. And we'll look at that once we get to the final remesh here for our head. Quick save here before I let this crash on me again. How large do I usually make the cavities? It doesn't really have to be that big for a mouth bag, or this isn't really a mouth bag in this case. I don't know. Go look maybe about the size of the character's eyeball. It really doesn't have to be that big. There's not, I mean, whatever you need, right? Maybe go back and look at some of my other versions of making something like that. It's not a specific size every time. Like in this case, it's just enough that I need that from the, let's see, here, we'll go to this one. You know, I can't see any of that internal geometry, especially once that's closed up. So just enough to make it so that I can separate these. Alright, let's do some quick projecting, and then we'll be able to clean up the connection point that we've made between our neck and head, and go from there. Yes, shut your mouth, bag. Shut your mouth when you're talking to me. You could zip it up. There are some insert zipper brushes in ZBrush by default. You could try out one of those. Let's see. How do we want to transition through here? Those tails on the back. Ooh, maybe we'll give him two tails. We'll make them like Tails from Sonic. I'll spin him around, which makes no sense, and fly off. That's actually how reindeers fly. A lot of people don't know that. That is how reindeer fly. They have two tails and they just spin them around. Like a helicopter. Makes sense, right? Skirt. Alright, so we've made lots of progress on this guy. I don't have the first version of this anymore, unfortunately. I have one of the older meshes. This is, I think, where we left off on the Pixel Logic ZBrush stream last night. So we've definitely shaped up quite a bit more between these. We still got a long way to go. Let's see. I'm going to save this out. And make sure we don't have any other questions here. Do you ever get the urge to throw in some insert multi-mesh stuff on something like this? Like some human ears or a nose or anything? Sometimes I'll just like mess with stuff, and most of the time I'm just trying to like push forward on something and get it done as quick as I can. But yes, I think that's going to be all for today's live stream. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I'll shout out really quick here my Gumroad one last time. It's just gumroad.com/Follygon. There's a link down below. We were talking about how I have my rendering set up on there, as well as a couple video excerpts from my longer Sculpting Stylized and Appealing Female Face course, which also includes the whole render setup and render tutorial, if you guys are interested in that. Got some stuff for people that are brand new to ZBrush and digital sculpting, stuff for intermediate people, stuff for more advanced people that know everything about ZBrush. No, not exactly. And then I got some brushes, materials, yada yada yada. And I recently turned my mentorship signups back on if you guys are interested in that as well. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. The last thing I'll do before we jump on off of here, as always, is try to find somebody we can shoot a raid to. See if there's any cool artists online. Any digital sculptors or anything like that. Bob Ross is on, so that's always fun. Thank you, Doom, for the follow there. And there's never any sculptors on. Never any 3D peeps on. I do see me though. I found a stream of just a Shiba Inu just sitting in a dog bed. That's kind of cool, I guess. All right, let's see. All right, we're gonna give a raid to Peter. Looks like he's doing some cool stuff. He's just drawing. Not a 3D friend, but that's okay. We got to give some love to those 2D artists as well. There's not enough of those. All right, I will see you guys in the next stream. I'll be streaming tomorrow at the same time, noon EST, and then I stream on Tuesdays on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel at 6 p.m. EST. So thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. Again, Wyvern Jack, Doom, Gliffy, everybody else that's been chatting it up, Jay Murphy, Ariel, and everybody else. Thanks for coming and hang out, guys, and I'll see you next time. And let the raid commence. See you, Bill. Bye, guys.